Good morning, one and all. Let me discuss software and software engineering. And these are some of the software applications, or you can consider that as different types of software which are in real life. First one, system software, obviously, that is the main category. Then application software. We have engineering and scientific software available. Apart from it, we have embedded software. Then product line softwares are there. Then web application softwares are there. Then artificial intelligence software is also there. Apart from this, we have plenty of software categories which are created nowadays. And these are some of the differences between hardware and software. In terms of manufacturing, hardware is manufactured, but software is getting developed or engineered. The term manufacturing will not be applicable for hardware. And hardware which is built or assembled using components. But whereas software we have to write on our own, then relatively simple to do it as it is having some assembly procedure. And software deteriorates if it is not properly handled by the user, and the software is custom built. In some cases it is complex too. So this explanation related to hardware and software differences regarding manufacturing and development process is given here. Once a hardware product has been manufactured, it is difficult or impossible to modify. In contrast, software products are routinely modified and upgraded because that is the nature of software always. In hardware, hiring more people allows you to accomplish more work, but the same does not necessarily hold true in software engineering. Unlike hardware, software costs are concentrated in design rather than production, whereas hardware will mainly concentrate on production. And this is the curve which is showing the hardware working. This will call it as a bathtub curve because the shape is something similar to this. So this is the graph between failure rate and time. Initially there is a high failure rate, so this will try to call it as infant mortality. Initially it will be high, and over the period the failure rate is somewhat lesser. It will be going constant. Once the deterioration period comes, immediately it starts to vanish, it starts to deteriorate. The failure rate increases. So this will call it as bathtub curve. That is meant for hardware devices. Software, initially there will be a high failure rate due to the improper handling by the user, because user will not be in a comfortable position during the initial stage of working. That's why this is mortality is there, and over the period it will not deteriorate like hardware. The actual curves, this is the idealized curve. The failure rate is decreasing over the period. It will not go up like hardware. And this is the actual curve. There are some spikes available, and these spikes are due to changes, because software always requires change. That's why the spikes represent the changes in the software as given by the user. And one more difference is their component based and custom based product. Actually, hardware products typically employ many standardized design components, and most software continues to be custom built. Even though we have ready-made components available for software assembling, still some software needs to be custom built. The software industry does seem to be moving towards component based construction. The legacy software is there, but it is not adapting to the recent technologies. That's why we need to switch over from legacy software to the software where we use the recent programming paradigms. That is essential. And these are some of the software myths, some misbeliefs regarding the software we have that will concentrate. Here the software myths are in different categories: manager's myth, then we have customer's myth, and practitioner's myth. These are all practitioner's myths. If we get behind the schedule, we can add more programmers and catch up. This is obviously a myth, because if you are getting behind the schedule and if you are adding more programmers, it will still delay the process, because new programmers will not be comfortable and they need to be trained. It's obviously it's a myth. A general statement about objectives is sufficient to begin building programs. Whenever we explain a problem, it should not be generic. The problem should be specific. Then change in project requirements can be easily accommodated because software is flexible. That is not the case. Whatever the requirements, all those requirements should be identified in the earlier stage itself. And these are some of the myths which are still there. Once we write a working program, we are done. It is again a myth, because once after finishing the coding part, we have a testing process that should be done. Then only the entire process will be completed. The next myth is, until I get the program running, I have no way of assessing its quality. No, it's again a myth, because we have some assessments for assessment techniques for assessing the quality. We can have formal technical review. So many other techniques are there to assess the quality during the implementation itself. The only deliverable work product for a successful project is the working program. Again, this is not true, because apart from working software, we have so many documents, reports, design parts, so many deliverables are there that should be added, because everything should be kept in a repository. Then software engineering will make us create too much documentation that will slow down. Documentation is an essential component for further references and enhancement. These are all the management myths. Management people, the higher official people, they are thinking that we already have a book of standards and procedures for building software. It does provide people with everything they need to know. Again, bookish knowledge itself will not give much information. There should be a practical knowledge, and we should get some expertise knowledge, and we should get some expertise lectures also. Their help is also essential in this. If my project is behind the schedule, I always add more programmers to add it and catch them. Again, this we already explained it. It will slow down the process. If I decide to outsource the software project to the third party, I can just relax, let them build it, and I'll just pocket my profits. But this is again, it's not true, because as a third party vendors, they'll not be knowing the organizational policy. There should be a proper follow-up, then only we'll get the product what we have already meant. These are all customer myths. First myth, a general statement of objectives is sufficient to begin writing programs. We can fill in the details later. General statement will never help the project to be developed in a full-fledged format. We should always give a detailed explanation. That is a customer's responsibility. Then project requirements continually change, but this change can easily be accommodated because the software is flexible. Again, this is also a myth. Thank you.